What's your greatest most satisfying I find called it moment? My wife and I went to Red Lobster one day. My wife likes the shrimp and lobster pasta with Parmesan cheese. They sat her plate down. She got a weird look on her face. She told me it smelled weird, it smelled normal to me. I straight up asked her if she could be pregnant. Her eyes got wide as she starts doing some math in her head. We went afterwards and got a pregnancy test. Sure enough, she didn't even know yet. All because I remember some random tidbit about some food smelling off to pregnant women. It's so true though. I love bacon, but both pregnancies the smell of cooking bacon made me feel so sick. My sister now gets nauseated from the smell of microwave popcorn. Not all popcorn, just microwave. Microwave popcorn can smell nauseating to anyone if you're not in the mood for it. Accidental pregnancy last month, and not being able to cook onions was awful. When my brother and sister-in-law planned a trip home for Easter weekend, I told my wife and parents that they were coming to announce their pregnancy. Everyone told me I was crazy, and they just used the family chat for that. Cue Easter lunch on Saturday and my sil refuses a glass of wine and everyone guesses she's pregnant. Called it. My cousin swears it's my fault she has 5 kids. Every time she's been pregnant I called it before she knew. She says me saying it is what makes it take him banned from asking her, are you pregnant? My cousin swears it's my fault she has 5 kids. No tide rolling, I'm just really good at catching the first sparks of the glow. Keeping the family secrets in the family, eh? He's keeping more in the family than just secrets. He's keeping more in the family than just secrets. Maybe she should get good at catching some birth control? I mean, if she doesn't want to be pregnant, there are other ways around it that are better than don't let my cousin jinx me. In Canada we have a holiday called Family Day in February. In 2008 my wife was dealing with a sick family member out of town and had come back for a visit. We were trying to have a child at the time. Well, with our crazy schedules we had one chance on Family Day. The moment we were done, I jumped up, gave her the double finger guns first time in my life and said bam, you're pregnant. Twin girls, red hair. Turns out I got everything right except the hair. Her Italian genes beat me in that one. I win for our entire marriage with that prediction. Edit. Thanks for my first gold. I want to brag to my wife I got gold, but I did not clear posting this with her. So conflicting. Gold versus living. I'd be careful with your finger guns. Pull out the third gun for triplets. You don't pull out if you want kids. I jumped up, gave her the double finger guns first time in my life, that's why it worked. That was your very first dad moment. That was the exact point in which the universe shifted your being into dad. He made it happen with the sheer power of his dad dorkness. Caught up with a high school friend on a university campus. Pretty quiet guy, subtle good looks, but never showed any interest in relationships. We were waiting for separate buses when he runs into one of his classmates and she joins us in the bus line. We were having pretty good conversation, but I saw her eyes repeatedly flickering over to his face. Soon after, my bus pulled up, so I smiled and waved goodbye to my friend and said to the girl, it was great meeting you. I'm sure I'll see you a lot more in the future. She looked puzzled, but smiled and waved back. They're in a common law marriage now and getting officially married next year. And they've been valuable friends to my fiance and I for the last 6 years. Dude at work had been complaining about his crazy girlfriend and her problems. 2 weeks later he is talking about how she is pregnant. In my head I'm thinking, she is going to lose the baby because it isn't real. Sure enough, he comes in all sad about just over 2 more weeks later saying she had a miscarriage. Some time passed and has complaining about her crazy antics again. When a penny stock I bought around $0.03 share blew up to over $3. My only regret is not buying a lot more shares. Edit. For those asking, here's my take. Based on my very limited experience with penny stocks, you can usually buy penny stock through your typical broker. You must be particularly wary of penny stocks because they can be subject to the phenomenon of pump and dump. One or more people, likely those who have stake in whatever company is offering penny stock, hype it up and hope that people will buy. As the price creeps up, those stacker holders may decide to sell and thus reap the rewards, while those who naively assume going long is best will hold on to that stock with hopes that it'll blow up. The number of penny stock failures I've invested in far outnumbers the successes. Like I've bought hundreds of thousands of shares of stock less than $0.01 share and seen it basically become valueless as the stacker holders have presumably sold their stake before the per share price hits the toilet. It's extremely hit or miss, to say the least. It was New Year's Eve. We were about to do the firework and me and my friend wanted to set up the box for the firework, just putting 4 bricks around it to keep it safe and start the firework. Then this girl came and said she was gonna do it cause she bought it. We told her how to do it and she said nah, I'll just start it up. I told her don't blame me when it tips over and starts shooting at us. She said it won't happen. That's exactly what happened. The firework just tipped over and started shooting at cars and people. I just calmly walked up to her and said I told you so. When I was a kid and shooting off fireworks unsupervised, I opened up this big package and pulled out this little ball with a platform on one side. So I put the platform on the ground, light it, and it explodes, goes 5 feet into the air, and explodes again. Big. Like, that should have been in the sky big. I'm surprised I didn't get injured or light anything on fire. So I figure that one must have been a dud and I light another. I hide behind a car this time. Same thing happens. It's at this point I start looking at the box for directions, cause something's clearly not right. Turns out there's a tube in the box, which is essentially the cannon for these things. You drop the bomb in the tube, light it, the tube funnels a force to actually shoot it up into the sky, and then it explodes again. So I was definitely just exploding sky bombs at ground level. They are called mortars. My wife was watching some TV show. I happened to walk in during some scene in which it was raining out, and a guy and a gal were looking at each other through their car windows as their kid went from one car to the other. I said here comes the scene where they make up without knowing any of the background of the show. My wife started telling me that it won't happen. They had had a failed relationship years earlier, hence the kid and the woman was with a great guy. Right after she said that, the woman got out and ran to the guy's car, basically professing her love for him. This is from Parenthood. Super predictable, decent show though. Rain means change in any TV show or movie. Whichever way the plot was headed before, the rain will probably start down a new path after some rain. Ever since I told that to my wife, she hates me for it because it has ruined watching for her. There used to be a show called Tales from the Dark Side. I was watching it with my brother. The episode started with a female hiker who was lost and was taken in by an old couple. About 5 minutes into the episode I said, the old people are going to cook and eat the young lady. Brother thought I was crazy. End of the episode was the young lady in the hot tube and the old people were bringing it up to boil and adding in vegetables and turning her into a soup. I like to walk past the hot tub in a hotel and just drop in some carrots and celery. Just hang out in there and simmer for a while. I mean sit there for a while. Paraphrase Mitch. Hey man, just simmer for a WH. I mean, sit there. I always think of it as people soup thanks to Mitch. I was on a second date and we were watching Criminal Minds at her apartment. I called that the killer would be an archaeologist who hadn't even been introduced yet. She was so blown away during the reveal at the end of the episode that I took a victory lap. As I rounded third, I slipped where the carpet meets the hardwood and fell flat on my face. We've been married for over 2 years now. So I can guess her face met some hardwood to that evening. Coworker made a very unethical, behind closed doors deal with another company, and he was an agency resource, not even a full employee of my company. After months, I spoke up about something being fishy and concerns of pre-committing purchasing, etc. My apathetic boss ignores me, all while coworker secures a job at the other company to work on the project that he set up with my company. Fast forward a year later, now they are citing that project as a pre-commit for service. Wisdom never tasted so sour. Did this deal involve Outback Steakhouse gift certificates? Well, it's funny. Maybe it's a girl thing, but after we did it, and he would give me those coupons, I just felt good about myself. Excuse my ignorance, but what's a pre-commit for service? Found out my now ex-husband was sleeping with a coworker. So naturally we divorce, but still have to keep in contact because we have a daughter. Well, her fiance finds out and leaves her as well. Now she is a decade older than me and had mentioned that she and her ex-fiance had been trying for a baby for a long time, but never conceived. He continued to see her and eventually she moved on with him. He didn't want any more kids. I told him to be careful because I suspected she was only with him to have a baby. Fast forward a year and she's pregnant. He comes to terms with it after being slightly upset. Fast forward a year after their baby was born and she breaks up with him. Shocker. I have successfully predicted 3 marriages would end due to cheating, and I called all 3 at the weddings themselves, basing my opinion on nothing but body language and how the couples interacted on their wedding day. 2 brides, 1 groom, all 3 ended up cheating, and the marriages ended up ending. Being able to read body language, empathic, or whatever you want to call it, is a blessing and a curse.